Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another valuable webinar session. Today, we're featuring a leading email marketing expert. So I'm not that person. My name's Grant Arnott. I'm the publisher of Power Retail, and I'll be introducing our guest speaker very shortly. Just before the introduction, though, some quick housekeeping. Firstly, the bathrooms. I hope you know where they are because it's a webinar, and I'm not going to be able to help you. Your mobile phones, turn them to silent. I can't ridicule you if it goes off because I won't hear it, but that's beside the point. You want to pay attention because this is going to be a great session, so get your notepads ready. With regards to questions, post your questions to the dialog box in the sidebar. We'll let our speaker complete his presentation and then we'll field your questions at the end of the session. It's a jam-packed session ahead. You're going to take away a 30-day roadmap for creating and implementing some essential lifecycle messages. How to create successful welcome, post-purchase, birthday, and engagement emails. A week-by-week automation plan for each of these message programs. Email best practices that will add value to your programs. So make sure you stay until the questions at the end, as we have an added value checklist we're going to present to you via the webinar for download, and you'll get some great insights out of that. So now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. Greg Zakowicz is a marketing strategist with a proven track record of success helping companies identify and capture market opportunities to increase revenue. Working at Bronto, a NetSuite company, Greg consults clients on how to increase email-related revenue by improving all aspects of their email marketing program. His professional experience has bridged a variety of mediums and audiences and has provided him with unique and well-rounded experiences in which to draw upon to help you out today. So now to take you through 30 days to a rock-solid lifecycle email marketing program, please welcome Greg Zakowicz. Round of applause, please, and over to you, Greg.
Oh, you guys are too kind. Thank you, Grant. So setting the agenda for today, good morning, everyone. I'm glad you're here. I hope you are going to take away a lot of good, valuable information from this webinar. 30 days to a very robust program with a lot of lifecycle messages, which means we are going to move quickly today. So I apologize, but we have questions at the end. My contact info is in here as well. So if you need to follow up with me, you certainly can. We're going to really focus on lifecycle messages today for a variety of reasons, which we'll get into in just a minute. And like everything else in life, if you don't put the work in, you're not going to get great results. And I'm not naive. I know that some of these things may take longer than 30 days. This roadmap is to get you on a very good blueprint for executing them. And if something is out of your control, that's okay. You've got the ball pins started, and you can start rocking and rolling at that point. The reason we focus on lifecycle messages, and I do this with my clients day in and day out, is lifecycle messages have a lot of benefits to them, right? They're going to get better than average email marketing metrics from them. So open rates, click rates, conversion rates, revenue per email, right? All these things are increased with lifecycle messages. They do help build customer loyalty, increase engagement, decrease subscriber unengagement, subscriber fatigue. Very important for you. And then obviously having email automated in the background decrease that reliance on your standard batch and blast promotional messaging, right? Say you can't get an email out the door one day because you're strapped and it's a 1 or 2 man wrecking crew over in your business. These things will help drive that revenue. And worst case scenario, if your email revenue from a promotional standpoint flatlines year over year, month over month, and you increase these lifecycle messages, continue to optimize them, your email revenue as a whole channel will continue to go up as well. But hopefully your email from a promotional message goes up further each month as well. So these are really important messages. They're going to get the engagement. They're going to get what you want them to from the audience, but they're going to help drive revenue for you. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. It's what you're measured on. It's what your company's measured on, and that's what we want to do. So let's jump right in and look at week one, right? So first thing we're going to do is create an optimized welcome message. If you have a welcome message, make sure it's optimized. If you have an optimized welcome message, day one, check it off and move on to day two at this point, right? A lot of brands, this seems very fundamental, but a lot of brands just don't have them. They have prefab messages going out from their e-commerce platform, or it's just this plain text one that says, hey, thanks for joining our email list, right? So the goal here is it's an intro. It's that handshake, right? Hey, thanks for subscribing to our community. Thanks for subscribing to our exclusive club, right? We don't want to just say, hey, thanks for joining a list. We want this to be very personal. Lifecycle messages are personal in nature. We want to explain the benefits. We don't have to go a long-winded paragraph approach here, but a couple bullet points. You're going to receive, exclusive insider-only deals, the latest on hot trends and tips, and you can use the obligatory and a whole lot more, right? You can bullet point them out, let people scan them easily, and you want to provide a call to action to shop, Remember, these people just gave you an email. They said, hey, I want you to bother me in the inbox. They are primed to jump on for creating that conversion here. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to brand this message. We want to make it look like your promotional messages you're sending out. So this is Pavlovian dog theory, right? People open an email, they get used to how that email is laid out, where your navigation bar is, how is your call to actions typically. So then in future emails, they can open those up and easily identify where they want to go, and you can help drive them down this path with this welcome message. I tell people not to overthink the message here, right? Be short and sweet. So you don't need, again, that paragraphed approach. You don't have to go all the way down and say, hey, this is what you're going to get, X, Y, Z, and start over at A, B, and C and continue on that way. So, hey, welcome them, thank them, couple bullet points, give them a nice call to action in there. If you have an incentive, obviously have that call to action to shop now. If you don't have an incentive for signing up, right, it's just more of a goodwill message, you can still take them to shop now. Think about linking them to a resource, something like that. And don't forget the subject line. Biggest thing you can do is make the mistake that someone's going to open the email because you sent it to them. Provide them a reason to open that. So welcome to XYZ Club. You know, your gift is inside. Something along those lines. Now, at the end of the day, we want to go ahead, engage that audience, thank them, and you know, continue on that path of that subscriber engagement, that customer flow. Open rates for this message, typically it's the most read message you will ever send from your email program, so take some time to really develop it. But you can see image-heavy ones on the examples here I gave you, some bullet points, a little more text-heavy, but you have these nice call to actions kind of stuck in there. 60% open rate, if you don't have an incentive, should be a benchmark you're shooting for. If you do have an incentive which is advertised at sign up, you should be looking 70% above for open rates. So really good open rates typically will outperform everything else. And if it's the most read message, make sure that the most people will see that over the course of time. Now, when we talk about creating messages on a day-to-day basis, right, Monday, hey, create this message. Now, I'm not naive. I know you may have to turn this over to a creative department or a graphic designer. You may not be the person doing that. It's okay. The goal here is to think on Monday about, hey, what is the verbiage, what is the copywriting we need to put into this message, and turn over that creative concept on that day to the graphic department. If it takes them 2 weeks to get it back to you, that's okay because you have the ball rolling and it's in someone else's court at that point. When it gets back to you, you can then easily automate it, flip a switch, and you're off and running. So really think about just the copywriting, the image creation. If you're the person doing it all, carve a time aside. You don't need a whole day to do it, but carve a time aside. And again, it's a short and sweet message, so just try not to overthink it. You can always optimize as time goes on. So we move on from Monday. We've got this optimized welcome message. We're going to take that and we're going to build upon it a little bit, right? So we're going to create an alternate welcome message, identifying and sending the people who come in and opt in at point of checkout, point of purchase. Right? So this is where you want to remove the incentive, especially if you're advertising in the sign up, right? They check the box, yep, sign me up for emails as they're making a purchase. Last thing you want to do is send them 15% off their order, because what they're going to do is call your customer service department and say, hey, can I get a 15% refund on my card or refund on my purchase? All right, so here's an instance where we take a lot of the same language from the first one, right? Benefits of joining the email program, but we want to do some slight customization to it, right? We want to thank them, acknowledge the fact they purchased, right? Treat the customer as if you know what they're doing in the life cycle with you. All right, hey, thanks for signing up. You can keep a lot of that content the same, short, sweet bullet points here, and have a call to action, but not to shop now. Remember, they just shopped with you. We're going to hit them with other messages in a very short time frame that will lead them back to make a purchase. Your optimized transactional messages may help drive that additional conversion as well. But here's a great example to link to a resource on your site or link to your social sites. Provide them another reason to visit you beyond just shopping, right? So you have how-to videos, care tips, resource centers, whatever it could be. It's a great value add piece to drive to them at this point. But again, you can borrow a lot of that same concept, a lot of the same verbiage from that message, give it a slight tweak there, and you're off and running. So this one should not take quite as long. You can turn it around in a day. Again, you may have to ship it off the graphics, but that's okay. And a sample subject line for you, very similar, right? Thanks. So we're recognizing that purchase. And welcome. Thanks and welcome. See what's in store for you. Right? Again, we still want to give them a reason to open that message, but we can go ahead and flip the switch and get them at a thank you with a point where we know they're interacting with us at a certain stage of their life cycle. We're going to shift gears over to Wednesday. So all I'm asking you to do on Wednesday is set up the automation for these messages. If they're not crafted yet, the automation can still be set up, and you can flick the switch here. So based on your system, it may be obviously look different than what we have here, But really what you're looking at here is, hey, contact signs up for an email. We then check to see if they come in at a checkout list or whatever our queue is to identify they came in at point of sale, and we then send them a message based on where they're coming in from. So organically, no purchase, or yes with a purchase. Now you can see here I just delayed the purchase an hour because they're going to get order confirmation messages. If it ships quickly, maybe a shipping confirmation, but they're going to get that message, they'll check it. So we're going to give a little bit of a breathing room, send them that welcome message, and the only thing you have to do today is just set up the automation. Thursday, we're now going to talk about web forms, right? So we've got two messages going out at initial point of contact with your program. Web forms or any sort of customer forms are things you should be optimizing here as well. So primary forms and most common ones you really look at are managed preference form, the form that people land on after they submit their preferences, the unsubscribe form, and the one they land on after they actually unsubscribe from you. So this is something that a lot of retailers and a lot of companies just choose to ignore. They say, hey, if you don't want to be my list, that's fine, and they just kind of leave it this gray or static, unsubscribe page. But this is really a customer touch point. You want to make these forms feel like an extension of your site. So when we look here, ask for obviously demographic information that will help you segment better on a managed preferences side. Right? Don't overwhelm them, but you can ask for plenty of information. Have a birthday call out there. Hey, join our birthday program. Right? Things like that, gift reminders, important people's special dates, anything like that that can help you automate messages and become more segmented and relevant with your standard promotional messages. But brand it, make it feel like an extension of your site. Stick a logo up there, have some custom language up there if you want. But again, you don't have to overcomplicate these forms. When they submit it, put something in there as well. Hey, thanks for telling us about yourself. Hey, thanks for taking the time, even though it might have taken them 20 seconds, right? And provide a call to action. Remember, they clicked on a managed preference link at the bottom of the email. Something wasn't hitting them right. We want to see if we can hit them right by letting them provide us information. They're clicking managed preferences, not unsubscribe, because they don't want to unsubscribe. So let's give them a reason not to. And then we have current specials, sales. Again, this is a place you can always use social call-outs. Hey, don't forget to visit us on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever it could be. All right, unsubscribe pages. This is seldom done, but tell people, remind them why they signed up for your emails in the first place. Again, we have that language we can borrow from the welcome message. You can copy and paste that language over here, and you may be in good shape, right? Hey, we hate to see you go, but we respect your privacy. Insiders get X, Y, Z benefits. If you want to, if you'd rather manage your preferences, click here. You can take them to that preference form. Otherwise, they can unsubscribe. That's not a problem. If they do unsubscribe, they're just telling you they don't want to get emails from you. It doesn't mean they don't like your brand. Maybe you send too much. Maybe they're just not relevant. Maybe they just don't need the emails anymore, but they still like you, right? Engage them on other channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, again, wherever you may be able to drive that conversation at a later time form. So these are things that shouldn't take you a lot of time. We have some of that content from the welcome message already built. Go ahead and stick it in here, and you'll be in good shape on day 4. Getting close to the end of week 1, we want to begin work on shopping cart abandonment messages. Now, this is something based on your system, based on what you have going on, can be very complex, can be a little time consuming. So we're just going to start some back-end work on here. All right, so what we want to do is you want to talk to your IT team, maybe your ESP, maybe your system integrator, or your SI, whoever's involved with potentially setting up a shopping cart abandonment program, right? Try to put a deadline together, have a roadmap kind of stuck on here, right? So who is responsible for what? Who's responsible for getting X, Y, Z? When do you need that by? Try to set some hard deadlines there. We all know that it's going to be soft deadlines because things are going to come up, but try to set some deadlines so people are held accountable, whether that's you or someone else. It engages the conversation. It gets them moving. You can have weekly check-ins with them for 15 minutes to say, hey, where are we at on this project? Where are we at? What do you need from me? But this will get the ball rolling. It'll get it in queue, especially if you have maybe an IT queue. These messages will be the most revenue-driving messages you have. Not the most read, but top 3 probably. But they will drive the most revenue for you. So from an RP and bang for the buck perspective, it's critical you get some of these out here for you. So we just want to begin that back-end work. Have that roadmap, have that plan in place with some deliverables there. If it takes you 15, 20 minutes to have a quick conversation with those people, you're off. You have time in your day to kind of make up other work that maybe you neglected or fell through the cracks because life does come up, right? Business comes up, fires come up. You need to put those out. So it's a busy week one. We've got copywriting. We've got some things to ship off to our graphics department potentially. We've got some timing there, but you should be set with 2 welcome messages, branded forms, automation all set to go. So when they come back, you can flip a switch and trigger away. Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to ask you to enjoy your weekend because you put in a long week. So go barbecue, lay by the pool, do whatever you need to do. If it's winter outside, go skiing or do something. Just get some fresh air. And relax because you're coming back to week 2, which is going to get even busier for you. So on Monday, we're going to talk about incentivized thank you email for recent purchasers, right? We've identified welcome messages for people who did not make a purchase and a purchase. Let's focus on those purchasers because they've shelled out money with you, right? We can get them to come back, start building some loyalty from us. And we want to talk about a incentivized thank you message. So I make a purchase anywhere from 3 to 7 days, 4 to 7 is most common, but anywhere from 3 to 7 days after they make a purchase, we're simply going to send them a message with an incentive in there. Now, this is assuming that your brand can incentivize. You're not a luxury brand. We'll talk about non-incentivized message shortly. Very much like a welcome message. You can see the example here. It's not overly complex. It's very simple and straightforward. We're going to thank the customer. Hey, thanks for a recent purchase. If there's anything we can do for you, don't hesitate to contact us. As our way of saying thanks, here's XYZ off your next order in the next 30 days, something like that. You can put cross-sell information in there. So, hey, product recommendations, just other categories of products, anything like that. Or just reinforce your customer service here. And you can see this example. They have customer service calls at the bottom. Again, we're thanking them. We're going to have a nice call to action. We're not going to overcomplicate things, but we're going to brand the heck out of this thing. All right. I mentioned 4 to 7 days is most common to send this message. It'll typically be one of your 3 best performing messages you guys will send: abandoned shopping cart, welcome messages, and post-purchase bounce back messages are typically your 3 best messages from the revenue per email standpoint, open rates, things of that nature. A simple open rate for a message like this, thanks for a recent order, identifies the order, ties back to it. You're sending it 4 days later, people will open it. You should be looking 50, 60% open rates on a message like this as well every day. Here's some examples of messages like this from an incentivized version. You can see they're not complex, right? Branded, going to reinforce the brand, lifestyle, whatever it is in there, short and sweet, call to action. It's an incentive. Now, here's the one thing. We're talking to people who have made a purchase with us, right? This is going to set the stage for hopefully getting a repeat purchase, building some brand loyalty here. Just make sure that you're incentivizing, which makes sense. If your promotional messages have 10% off every time, and you're incentivizing 5% off here or 10% off 100 or more, they can get a better incentive on the promotions, right? These are people who have actually trusted you enough to spend money with them. Treat them a little bit differently. We'll talk about making this more dynamic as time goes on, but get a basic one that you're comfortable with an incentive on there. You can send the people, but just, again, don't overthink the message. Get the copywriting done. Turn over to your graphics department if you need to, and you'll be in really good shape. Now, we've got the incentivized message done. Just like the welcome message, we want to flip the scales, right? We want to talk about non-incentivized thank you email. So again, recent purchasers, but we're not going to incentivize them, right? We're simply going to say thanks and reinforce our brand here. So thank the customer, offer again that customer service info form, reinforce it, tell them how great you are. Hey, we get free, hassle-free returns, satisfaction guarantees, whatever it could be, to hopefully drive home the fact that they can come back and make a purchase with you. You can still include cross-sells here. You can still put some upsells down there, right? You can have it toward the bottom, but don't make it the primary focus of the message. And think about your call to action. It doesn't make sense at this point with a non-incentivized version to have a call to action, again, taking the shop. Now, you certainly could. Not a big deal if you do, but you really want to focus this around the customer service vehicle, right? Hey, here's, we want to thank you. Here's some great information from you. Why don't you check out a resource center, right? Think about your call to actions in that customer service welcome message that you had. Think about similar call to actions taken into similar places, right? So now we're nurturing this person who made a purchase with, hey, a resource call to action, that welcome message, potentially a non-incentivized thank you message here. Again, we're building loyalty of, hey, our brand is more than just throwing products at you. We're here to value the products you bought and to value the relationship with you. So a couple examples, fit your demographic, wordy, not wordy, but you don't have to overthink these messages here. You can see the Shutterfly example in the upper right actually does have a shop photo books call to action. Here's a really good example of, hey, we sell a product that has a natural upsell to it, has something of value here. photos. I want to take pictures of my kids and have these things protected. This might make sense to do a cross-sell in a very personal way. Hey, protect the memories that mean the most to you, or protect cherished memories and have the photo book. It's a natural cross-sell without sounding like a cross-sell at that point. But again, the Jack and Jones example, they're just taking it Instagram, right? They're checking out some of those social sites and communicating at a further relationship with you. We get that done. Now we're like the welcome message. We're going to spend the day just kind of setting up the automation here. So again, you can see what I'm doing here. Maybe you can't, but this is a fairly basic automation. The reason we have kind of two different paths here is we're going to bounce people between the incentivized and non-incentivized version, right? So first time they make a purchase, we're going to check to see if they've recently received the incentivized version. If not, we're going to send them down that left path, which sends them that incentive. We're then going to put them onto a list or a check for 30 days and say, anytime you make a purchase in the next 30 days, which that message is designed to get them the purchase again, we're not going to send you the incentive, right? And then we're going to send you that customer service non-incentivized version every single time afterward, right? So 30 days is just a random number out there. It's fairly common, but if you're, if you're hesitant about incentivizing a lot, take about 45, 60, 90 days. You really have the power to test that and throw it out there for you. It's a very simple automation, although it might not look like it because of the arrows. But you want to balance the customer flow. Don't incentivize them every time. Don't train them. But you can incentivize them and throw them a little carrot every now and then. So how this could look is the first time you make a purchase, you get something with some cross-sells. Hey, here's a gift for you. The next time they come back to make a purchase, we have something like this. We still have those cross-sells there, but the verbiage is really focusing on, hey, we have experts in the house here. Go ahead, give us a call. We can help guide you through whatever you need to. So we have different messaging and keeping it fresh for you. We're up to Thursday. We're going to talk about some of those lifecycle messages, continuing with very personal things, right? Birthday messages. You can be collecting birthday information at sign up. Hey, join our birthday club, asking for it on the managed preference forms, right? So we're collecting some of that info through the managed preferences. But we want a birthday invite message. So birthday invite versus the actual birthday message, chicken before the egg. You've got to have one before the other, right? So let's focus on the birthday invite message here. And this is really just, hey, tell us your birthday. We have a gift for you. Join our birthday club. Now, a message like this can be used in other places, and we'll talk about how to repurpose this stuff. But remember, we've got our preference form optimized ready. We're collecting the info. This is now going to drive a mass amount of people here. But think about what this does. This is providing some of that exclusivity for your email program. I can't get a birthday message on Facebook or Instagram, right? You have to be part of the email club to get this. Now, we've been talking about using incentives across the email program from post-purchase to welcome messages. But a lot of brands want to get away from incentivizing, right? They don't want that to be a crutch. And unfortunately, in the industry, people expect that nowadays. Here's a great instance where as you develop more and more lifecycle messages, that you can put incentives in lifecycle messages because you're rewarding people for interacting with you. So it's your way to kind of dial back a little bit, but still giving the people who are actively engaging with your email program. So we're getting some exclusivity built up for you. This is a great way to collect preference information, but ask for it in a more personal way, right? Hey, tell us your categories of primary interest, manage your preferences, right? We see those messages day in and day out, but they're very cold sounding at times. Some people do a very good job with them, but they're fairly cold sounding. This is going to drive you to a managed preference page. It's more personal, right? It's more fun. People like birthdays. People can have fun with these things, but they'll still give you that preference information when they get to the preference page. Really good benefit at that point, and this is why I prefer these messages over manage your preference messages. It just connects with people on a more personal level. We'll talk about welcome series at the end of the presentation, but this is a natural message you can repurpose for brand new subscribers that are coming on your program. Welcome message, and in that series you can have this, this message trigger off the people who you don't have birthday info for. So you can see this is a message where you guys, from a creative standpoint, right, they're short and sweet again, doesn't have to be real long, but really have some fun with it. Birthdays are fun. You can see the different examples here. Make sure it fits your brand, right, but it gives you a chance to step outside the box and test some different things out for you. Wrapping up the second week, we're really just going to use Friday or the last day of the week to address outstanding items, right? So things by now have probably come up in your day-to-day, which has slowed progress, right? Maybe you turn something to graphics, that welcome message, and you're still waiting on it. Follow up with these things. Get some ETAs out there, right? How's shopping cart abandonment coming along? How are you having your weekly check-in with them? Are you on track to complete this within 30 days? If not, when is the on track or the ETA for that now? If everything looks good, you just sitting back and waiting for graphics to come back and everything is kosher, right? Start looking at next week's schedule. Is there anything you can prep for next week, right? Is there anything you can get ahead of the game on? And if not, you've got a day to just kind of go off and do your day-to-day business there, get some emails out the door, maybe look at some analytics from the past week and see how you can do better next week from your emails. Saturday and Sunday, let's get busy. So let's check out the Tower Eye. Let's get down to the rocks, have a good time there. So just kind of get out, explore, get some fresh air, and again, you've deserved it. So we're halfway through, or almost halfway through our 30 days here, and by now we've got messages drafted for a variety of different relationship points with the subscriber, new subscribers, purchases, potentially later on a new subscriber with a welcome series, but a invite message to drive other things. We've got the invite message done. Let's go ahead, chicken before the egg. Let's get the birthday message actually crafted here. Again, short and sweet message, right? Happy birthday. You know, if you can incentivize here, great. Don't feel you need to. I get non-incentivized messages for my birthday from my alumni association. My bank sends me one every year, and they are certainly not giving me money, but they do send me a birthday message, and I open it every single time because I'm gullible. But it's a great goodwill message. Hey, happy birthday to you. Consider adding additional messages here. So potentially a message going off to them 1 or 2 weeks prior to their actual birthday. This will depend a little bit on the products you sell, right? If you're selling clothing like a sweater or dresses or shoes or something, it makes sense because people may be planning to go out for their birthday. You give them a chance to buy a product, have it shipped to them, wear it, potentially return it if it doesn't fit, but they can actually wear this on their birthday. So you can use this as a nice revenue driver leading up to the birthday. If you do that, you can always send just a goodwill, non-incentivized message on their birthday saying, hey, happy birthday, just wanted to wish you, all the cake your stomach can have, right? Something like that, but this is a great way to send it prior to, think about the products that you sell, whether it makes sense for you, and test out the timing here. I would say 2 weeks makes a lot of sense unless you have overnight shipping the next day. You could probably get away with a week before, but people do get busy leading up to the birthdays. But you can see a very simplified message. In this instance, Kurong obviously has brick and mortar stores, right? So this one you can take in store, redeem for something, which is great. So you can drive some traffic in store for you as well. So here's some examples, and what's nice about these examples here are there are a variety of different layouts for you, right? So they all reinforce the brand. Hanky Panky right in the middle, right? Lingerie brand. They're doing it in a sophisticated way, but I've got a trailer company in the lower left that is really just playing up on cute kids eating cake, right? And, both my kids just had birthdays, and they're both young, so one looked messier than that. The one in the upper left corner there, so the mud pie example, that's actually an animated GIF. So the sparkler is going off in the message. And then the one off to the right, you've got to scroll, but it kind of keeps this the S-shaped curve in the email. It's funny. It's a little bit out there. It's great for a mobile phone now because everyone wants to scroll on their phone. They're scroll happy. So reinforce your brand, right? And the Old Navy example, a little more mundane, straight to the point, but have some fun with these messages. So we want to repurpose information we have. We want to repurpose content we have. You're in the mindset of crafting a birthday message. Go ahead and craft a half birthday message. So not many people have half birthday messages, but they are out there. This is a great instance because birthday messages only send once a year, potentially twice, but right around their birthday if you're leading up to it, that it can keep people re-engage or engage or re-engage them throughout the course of the year, but it is only once or twice a year at that point. So let's try to break this up and get a message halfway through to reinvigorate people in case they are having some email fatigue there. This is a great place because not many people have half birthday programs that you can really step out of the box, be creative, have some fun with it, maybe push the envelope a little bit, but still reinforce your brand. So going back to Soundstage here, right? They're selling vinyl, they're selling music, so they're playing off the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon here. Good verbiage, good graphics on there, and it's just a single message. So you're in the mindset, you're already crafting it. A great example for you. And again, use your brand elements. So you can see we can get image heavy, you can get text heavy, you can kind of do whatever you need to do with these, but automation is very simple for them. Get into the middle of the week, we want to automate these birthday messages, right? So very simple again, we just automate them. Hey, today's your birthday's 2 weeks from today. Go ahead and send the message off to them, and it should be easy enough for you to automate. I would anticipate every system is fairly easy to set that up. If you have extra time, think about those outstanding items. How is shopping cart abandonment coming along? Get a quick update there. Any holdups with previous items you had? You're waiting on graphics. They told you it'd be Monday. It's now Wednesday. Where is that? Just send them a quick email, shoot them a quick one over there, and see what they have coming back for them. And then plan for the remainder of the week. 18, your cart abandonment might not be ready to go yet, but you can start drafting those messages out for you. So think about the strategy, right? This will kind of go a little bit longer, but are you going to send one message, two messages, or three messages there? There's no magic number, right? Think about what's suitable for your brand. Are you going to have dynamic products, so API tags in there showing the product's abandoned, or is it just going to be a straight branded message telling people that they've left something in their cart and taken them back there? Both are fine. The obviously trend in the industry is to show the API products and show what's left in there. Not necessary, so this will be based a little bit on how your cart abandonment program is coming along and the availability for showing those products in there. And ultimately, if you guys are going to incentivize or not incentivize within that series, and that may dictate how many messages you send. If you do incentivize, right, maybe 3 messages make sense for you, but tuck the incentive toward the end there. No matter what you do, you want to reinforce value adds in these messages. So they're not going to be long messages, short and sweet. You want to get them back to that shopping cart, but they're very qualified buyers at that point. Reinforce your value adds, right? Free shipping over XYZ, hassle-free return, satisfaction guaranteed. Drive them over there and create a sense of urgency. If you guys expire shopping carts, hey, your shopping cart's going to expire in 7 days, or these products won't last long, they sell out quick, something like that. If you incentivize, only put in the last message, you will recapture purchases on that first or second message with no incentive in there. So test that. If you don't incentivize at all, you probably only want to send 2 messages. You can always send a third, but it might be overkill at that point. I always recommend starting at 1 and 2 hours post-abandonment. Seems to be hot for them. They're still in the mindset of buying. If they are price shopping somewhere, you've got another shot to get them back, especially if you're reinforcing value adds. And then most carts are recovered organically within the first 48 hours. So use that 48-hour mark as a reference for testing. Are you sending at 1 hour post-abandonment, 3 hours, and 72 hours, or 48 hours, whatever it is? But think about majority of those carts will be recaptured if they are in the first 48 hours. Message 3, you can go anywhere from 3 to 7 days post-abandonment. Really the thing to think about here is what is your average order value, right? If you're selling $2,000 TVs, you can probably get away with the 7 days a lot more easy than you can get away with sending a pair of shoes, $50, $60 price point for something at 7 days later, because that's probably more of an impulse purchase. They've identified they need those shoes. That's probably 3, 4, maybe 5 days post-abandonment. So test it out, though. Give it a whirl. And again, you can see some examples here of products left in the cart, and right down the middle there, you see just branded images, right? So we have, just, hey, don't let a good thing get by, and we just take them back to the cart. Same, still in your mind. They're just reinforcing the branding, but think about the creative elements to really make the email more than just, hey, here's some line items in there. Think about some customized text up top, brand it, maybe put a cool logo in there, or whatever it could be. If you have a 3-part series here, you can see the parts you can actually draft, right? The black up top for all 3 messages, it's slightly different, kind of reinforcing that those value adds, sense of urgency as you go through. In that bottom section, which is pretty standard here, going across, everything else in the middle is just dynamically populated. So get the top and bottom done, and then you can fill in the rest of the content later, but at least the messages are beginning to get drafted for you. 19, we're going to leave as a flex day for you. So outstanding items, again, anything you need to follow up on, please do follow up on that. Again, if everything is kind of coming together very nicely for you, what we want to do then is just focus on next week. What can you plan ahead for the following week? Day 20 and 21, let's seize the weekend. Go skydiving. I encourage you all to do that, although I never have. And you can take a Bronto with you if you want to. But go skydiving, do something fun that weekend, and then we're going to go down the home stretch of week 4 here. So let's create a purchase anniversary message. Beauty here is this is going to go out 1 year from point of purchase, first purchase with you, and we're going to send this off to them, right? We're going to acknowledge the fact they made their first purchase a year ago. They're still an email subscriber, so they see value in you after a year. So just thank them. Hey, you know what? You made your first online purchase with us a year ago. We want to say thank you for that. A good place to put an incentive again might have come back. You can always put a check in here, you know, if they've bought within the last 14 days or however long your post-purchase series goes for, you can suppress them from this end. But very simplified message. You can see the creative is not overly complex here. So you just go through, short and sweet again, but use your brand's voice. Have some fun with it. You can continue to send this message each year to contacts. Hey, 2 years ago you made your first purchase. Happy, at that point it becomes a happy anniversary. You've been with us for XYZ. But it's a good instance of just driving home the fact that they've made a purchase with you, but a short and sweet. Again, it's going to go out one time, but filtered in with all the other ones. You're starting to hit people at a much higher program and at a much higher pace now. Tuesday, we're going to focus on a never purchase message. So we're going to try to target those people who have signed up for your emails after a short period of time but have not made a purchase, right? If they sign up, they're showing interest in your brand, but something has taken them away from making that purchase, especially if you have an incentive for signing up. Maybe they were just price shopping. Maybe they were hoping to get a better incentive than they got. Maybe they just kind of fell off the radar. They got busy, life got busy, and they just never made that purchase. So I would specifically mention that you have not made that purchase to them. Hey, you know, you signed up for us, and we see that you have yet to make a purchase. How can we help you? Right? Be very helpful with this. Link them to online styles, lookbooks, anything you have that's of value. Again, look at those resource centers. You know, what can you do? And again, reinforce those value adds. Right? Did they not do it because your shipping costs were too high? Did they not do it because the checkout was too tough? Did they just not trust you enough? It didn't seem like your satisfaction guarantee was up to par with other people's, whatever that is, but just reinforce it. Give them a reason to try you, right? And those value adds may be that tipping point that pushes you over. And if possible, if you have different products or categories at price points, right? Favorites under 20, favorites under 40, favorites, you know, 60 or more, whatever it is, try to drive them into a particular price point to let them know not everything's expensive, right? But think about what might be suitable for your brand at that point. Commonly, 21 to 30 days, somewhere in that 3 to 4 week window is fairly common for triggering off this message. Remember, you're going to jump on them right away. They're intrigued with your brand. You don't have to wait 90 days to figure out they haven't made a purchase to target them. You certainly could, but we don't try to get them when potentially they're still price shopping and they're still doing something for you. Again, think about price points here. $2,000 TVs, they may be researching a lot longer than 21 days. It's not an impulse purchase. You might be able to kind of slow them or back that off a little bit there. And again, you can see from the creatives here, not overly complex, right? So the one off to the right, they're all fairly simple. They all incentivize fairly well. The goal is to get them in there, make that first purchase, even if it's a low AOV, and use your post-purchase messaging and use your other lifecycle messages to build enough trust to get them to come back and purchase again. Maybe they'll love your products and they'll be hooked for life. Now we just want to automate the messages. So Wednesday is really our day of automation. So we're going to take this and we're simply going to go, hey, here's a segment they purchased exactly 1 year ago today. Send this message and never purchased, right? Did they sign up 31 days ago and their purchases equal 0? If so, send them that message at that point. And you can build that off into a remail if they have it open, or just 1 or 2 message series there, maybe with different price points of products at that point. If the automation is fairly easy for you to set up, get it automated again, look at those outstanding items. How is that shopping cart abandonment coming along? You guys still on track to execute that at the end of 30 days? Is it done already? Perfect. Any holdups there? And then plan out the remainder of the week for you. We want to automate those cart abandonment messages, even if they're not ready to go. Let's set up the automation for them. So we've got 2 automated days here, right? Sample snapshot of how to do it inside of Bronto, but whatever your system is, just go ahead and set up those automated rules. By this time, we've crafted out your strategy. Are we sending 1 message, 2 messages, or 3 messages? The messages aren't done yet. It's okay because you have the strategy mapped out. You can have placeholder for messages at that point there. Friday, we're going to create ineligible segments. This is something where if you're looking ahead at the week, you can always do this much earlier than you're doing now. But really what we're looking at here is we don't have a welcome series in place yet. But if you do have a welcome series or you're building upon that on the back end, you don't want people in that series to get promotional messages at the same time. That series is designed to build trust and to drive them to a purchase. So we want to have some sort of segment check in there and say, hey, if they're in the welcome series, don't send them promotional messages. Same with people who just made a purchase. Right? Your post-purchase series, when you develop that, is focused on driving that repeat purchase, focused on enhancing the overall experience of the user at that point. So we want to suppress those people, give them a little bit of breathing room. Even if you have one message, maybe you want to create a segment for anyone who purchased in the last 10 days, just give them a breather from promotional messages. Plan for the future, right? So this is the same thing. Are you going to be building out lapsed purchase series, re-engagement series? Now, maybe you want to send re-engagement messages at the same time as other ones. It's a tactic some people use. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but think about other ways that you could easily affect or alter that segment to include any sort of future automation you may have. And a quick example, hey, we're going to look for anyone whose order dates within the last 10 days. We're going to suppress them and find anyone whose, contact created was in the last 7 days, knowing my welcome series only goes 6 days long. That's easy enough to kind of create there, and you've got your ineligible segment. So when you schedule your traditional promotional messages, just make that segment ineligible from those promotional messages. People will filter on and off those things. Brings us to our weekend. We want to go check out some culture, so hit the National Gallery of Victoria, Good Times, or any other of your favorite cultural spots there, and then come back for the remainder of the week. And here's where we're simply just going to plan our welcome series that we just talked about. I don't want you to craft the messages. I don't want you to write the verbiage or the copyright the messages. I simply want you to plan what your series is going to entail. So how we want to do this is choose themes, right? Welcome series are designed to be an intro to people, right? Hey, this is what our brand is about. This is what shopping with us is all about. We want to reinforce that brand value to drive you to point of purchase, all right? Again, if they make a purchase during the series, you've done your job. Kick them out of the welcome series, because at that point, your post-purchase series will pick up. So just have a purchase check prior to sending message 2, prior to sending message 3. If they fall into that segment, just pull them out of the welcome series and get them into the post-purchase. So when we look at welcome messages, think about from a dating standpoint, right? That welcome message is like that first date, or the first time you meet your partner. Hi, my name is Greg. You make that first impression. My wife, she looked at my shoes immediately and said, oh, this guy wears Puma. I like him. But it starts a relationship. That's what the welcome message is for, right? Establish that connection. It does drive revenue for you as well. But the rest of the messages should not necessarily be simply to drive revenue. They will, but it's going to continue on the relationship. It's day 2, it's day 3, it's day 4, where you're getting more comfortable with someone. You're getting used to what their emails look like. You're getting used to what the value of that customer is with you. And ultimately, they'll drive revenue, but they may not all be designed to drive revenue. So when we look at potential messages, and this is not an all-inclusive list, right? We have a welcome with an incentive in there as a top, but here's some other ones you can do, right? Why shop with us? Why create an account with us? Well, it helps with online conversions for you, but hey, easy ordering, wish list reminders, whatever it might be, right? How-tos, resources on your website, right? We're already linking to some of that stuff anyways. I highlighted the birthday invite message because that one's already created, right? It's a managed preference message hidden in a very personal way, and you can easily automate that inside your welcome series. So go through, the value adds of your brand. What do we stand for? What are we doing here? And just pick out which messages you think will be good for you. And you can send a message every 2 or 3 days. You don't have to wait 7 days between messages. Get them in, get them out, get them on board. Again, they're most engaged with your brand. Jump on them while they're hot. So just circle the ones you like. You can start building out the content and copywriting later. And finally, our 30-day will wrap up at the same point with the post-purchase, then with the welcome message. So this is planning the series, not copywriting, not turning graphics over, whatever it might be. The goal here is to look at the experience of the purchase and the post-purchase experience of a customer, not just the messaging as a whole, right? So know your brand, know what your customers want. What you think they want and what they want may be very different. What they want and need may be the same thing, right? Oh, I want a new pair of shoes, which means to them, I need a new pair of shoes when they don't need it, right? But you have to know these things. Be introspective with your brand. Think about all these post-purchase messages as a vehicle for your customer service department. How can you re-engage and refocus to those subscribers what you're doing from a branding standpoint, what you stand for, how you actually help them with that purchase. So the example to the right, the video taking them to the YouTube page, how to wash your lingerie, right? So, I think lingerie companies as a whole miss a lot of key opportunities there, but this is a really good one, right? You buy something, this is going to reinforce that they didn't only buy a product from you, they bought a product of value from you, and you want to tell them how to care for that. But whatever their perceived needs are, this is where you want to jump on them. Balance your messages accordingly, and I'll talk about this in just a minute here before we wrap up, but if every message in a post-purchase series, right, product reviews, feedback, surveys, things like that, those are all designed to benefit the company. You don't want to do that because it's like that crazy uncle who always asks you for stuff. Eventually, you're going to stop answering the door, right? So you want to balance that between what's good for the customer, what's good for the company, and then have that nice structure there for you. That ultimately will help you build loyalty. It'll help you get repeat conversions. And you know what? Most companies don't do this. 3 out of 4 companies do not send dedicated, customized messages after an order and shipping confirmation message. They just don't do this. And this is your chance to be in that 25% of companies that actually talk to their customers and cater to what they actually want. So again, here's a non-inclusive list, but we have 2 of these already created, right? At checkout welcome, we have that thank you message, that bounce back, both incentivized and non-incentivized going for you, which will kind of kick off your post-purchase series at that point. But just to hear some other messages for you to kind of look at and, again, circle them. We talk about loyalty messages. Sometimes that makes sense if you have any sort of loyalty club. Sometimes you don't, so just ignore the bottom part if you don't. But here's some good examples for you. When we talk about balancing messages, here's an example, right? We have order and shipping confirmation messages. These are transactional in nature. They're going to give the customer information about their order. We've got our custom welcome and our product care, which is really a customer service vehicle. Product care is, hey, you bought something of value. Let me show you how to care for it. Your welcome message, again, it's not incentivized, right? So that it's linking them to a resource. So it's a customer service vehicle. Now we have maybe a bounce back or that thank you message with an incentive in there. We maybe have a cross-sell email and a coupon reminder at the very end there. Promotional nature, they're designed to drive revenue, right? But they're in this series where we're balancing it off. And then these 2 in the middle are designed for content and data, right? Product review, nothing wrong with that message whatsoever. It's going to help you across the board, but we're going to ask you to review that product. It really benefits the company. Birthday invite, well, that one could go either way, right? We're going to send you an incentive for your birthday. We're going to make it a little more personal. The reason that's important for you is that not everyone buys everything that they're interested in at one time, right? So it's still valuable to collect preference information from them. And then the very one in the middle, that thank you, that could be a customer service vehicle. It could be promotional if you're offering the incentive there. So that could really go either way. At the end of the day, you've got a balance. You've got good for the company, good for the customer. If you have to lean one way or the other, go good for the customer. It'll pay dividends down the road. And then this just kind of sets you up for next purchase, coupons, lapsed purchases, surveys down the road, and you're just kind of set at that point. So a couple examples of product reorders or just customer service messages for you. Same with product review messages, right? You can be creative, you can have fun. The one on the left-hand side there, right, submit a photo. They're engaging for product reviews, but with social aspects to it. They're trying to engage you into a lifestyle more than just a product here. And then day 31 plus, right, try to copyright 1 message a day, welcome series. This is really where we want to focus on, hey, we've chosen our themes for the welcome series. So on Monday next week, I'm just going to write the verbiage for message 2, call it a day. Next day, write the verbiage for message 3, 1 message at a time for 1 series at a time until execution, and then move on from there. The last thing you want to do is 20% of 5 projects because you'll never get 100% complete. You'll always be 20% of 5 projects. And then don't set and forget it. These are all lifecycle messages. They're automated. They're going to run in the background. They're going to drive revenue for you. Don't just let them sit back there, right? What we want to do is analyze them every 3 months. Are they working for you? They're not working for you. Did we choose the wrong welcome message themes or the wrong post-purchase themes? Can we do something else to optimize that? Always be optimizing, but these things will work for you in the background, and they're going to help you drive revenue there. So it is a realistic timeline. I know things are going to come up, graphics department, things like that. But if you stick with it, put the work in, I promise you, you will get some revenue off the back end, and you will supplement your email program, and you'll be rock stars before you know it. So I went over a couple minutes. I apologize, but we had to move quick. I'm happy to take some questions now, and fire away at me.
Hey, thanks, Greg. That was a fantastic presentation. Very, very comprehensive. Excuse me. So if anyone has any questions, now's the time. We've got a couple that I just want to kick off on. Before I do that too, you should also notice that just towards the end there, we uploaded the rock solid 30 days lifecycle marketing campaign checklist. So make sure you download that. It's a very valuable resource. Thank you, Greg. Thanks to Bronto for putting this on. We've got Greg and also Joe Stickney from Bronto on the line. Greg, which 2 or 3 messages would you work on if you were looking for the biggest return right out of the box?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I alluded to it a little bit before as I was flying through things, but the ones that are going to get you the best bang for the buck are obviously the welcome message. One, because it's the most read, but two, people are most engaged at that point. Beyond that, that post-purchase thank you message, whether it's incentivized or not, and I have clients that send only non-incentivized messages, and those things work wonders for them. And I can't explain it for the life of me, but they do. So that post-purchase thank you message, then obviously shopping cart abandonment, right? Those things will drive the most revenue for you than any message you will likely send out of your email program. So post-purchase thank you, welcome message, shopping cart abandonment are 3. If you had to hang your hat on something and really push to your upper execs why you need it, those would be the 3 I would go with.
Okay, well, off the back of that, you mentioned that you shouldn't send promotional messages to those who just made a purchase. So are there times when you would make an exception?
Yeah, there are. So in most cases, obviously, you want to let that post-purchase experience nurture that contact or that subscriber, that purchaser. But think about your overall branding value, right? Maybe you're a brand that you don't incentivize a lot, but maybe you do it on 2 flash sales at some point in the year, or you just have a massive sale going at that point. Maybe it's prime Q4 shopping, whatever it might be. At that point, it might make sense because it's few and far between, or it's a special time of year when it's okay to send some of those messages to contacts. And I do have a client that sends unadvertised sales twice a year, and those are the only promotions they do. And if someone makes a purchase in that time, I would not want to suppress them. It's one of the values of being part of that email program. So just think about how special that deal or how special that particular message would be, and that would be a time to do so.
Okay, and I guess another one. It seems often we have the ability to get a half good message created quickly, but we'd get a much better message created if we wait. So would you recommend just getting lesser quality message sending and then update it, or wait until a finalized version is created?
Yeah, so with messages like that, there's a tendency to be reluctant for, am I drafting this the right way? Is this message really as good as it could be, right? So there's that reluctance there, and a lot of times people will take the easy way out, and sometimes it's just relation because it'll take a month before graphics turn something around to them, that they'll do one of those, so-so messages just to get out the door and hope to get the revenue there. In most cases, I would say wait the extra 2 weeks or whatever it is and get a well-crafted branded message out the door, because ultimately these messages are triggering at certain points based on customer interaction with you, right, or subscriber interaction. You want that experience as a whole to be as positive as possible and to really reinforce your brand. And if you're diluting your brand potentially because you have a kind of a message that you chucked out the door, a lot of times you can do more harm than good. Now, shopping cart abandonment might be one of those examples where I've seen very basic shopping cart abandonment examples work fairly well, right? Just some plain text in there. That's something you can always integrate over time. But for the most part, I would focus on quality rather than quantity.
Okay, and a last one, unless anyone's got any more, but we're starting to run short on time. Just in terms of deliverability, it's an often discussed issue in Australian retailers. What are some of your tips for helping improve the deliverability of emails?
Yeah, so obviously, ISPs like Gmail and all your major players now, they're actively monitoring engagement rates with the emails. They determine, do I land in the junk or the bulk folder? Do I land in the inbox? And that's really what these messages are designed for, right? You're getting single send messages, but people are opening them and engaging with those. It's important when you get these that people are doing something to get them, right? So they're going to continue opening the messages. You want to focus on relevant content for your emails that are going to drive more open rates, because ultimately that's going to protect your inbox deliverability. So birthday invite messages, obviously you get the birthday there, you can automate those going out, which people open, but hopefully you're driving to manage preferences at that point. They're giving you that and you're using that message to further segment your audience with your just regular promotional messages, which should keep open rates high. So just focus on the lifecycle messages. They will get those high open rates, right? Anywhere from 40 to potentially 75, 80% based on the messages. Those things will pay dividends on from your ISP side.
All right. Well, look, I think we're out of time, and we've had some good feedback on your presentation already, Greg. So I think everyone appreciated that. It was very thorough, very comprehensive, a lot of great learnings there. So thank you, everyone, for sitting in today. Thanks again to our presenter, Greg Zakowicz from Bronto. Make sure you use that cheat sheet, and looking at that last slide, there's a whole lot more. Resources on the Bronto site, some fantastic resources I know are there around email marketing. So make sure you check it out. And Greg's left his details there for you, so feel free to follow up with him after the presentation. So thanks again, everyone. We're going to close it off here and let you all get back to your day jobs. And thanks again for Greg and Joe for staying up late on the East Coast to do this for us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.